Big change can only be achieved when the right partners come together with the right commitment, right skills and resources to turn ideas into reality. Representatives from PECP's founding members recently spoke with former administrator of the US Environmental Protection Agency, Carol Browner, about the initiative. Over to you, Carol.
Thank you, Sarah. Let me welcome Richard Fuller, CEO and founder of Pure Earth, Adam Muellerweiss, Chief Sustainability Officer of Clarios and a board member of the Clarios Foundation, and LuWei Pearson, Deputy Director of the Health Section with UNICEF. First, congratulations to all of you, to Pure Earth, the Klairs Foundation, and UNICEF on the launch of PECP. And to Pure Earth and UNICEF on the publication of The Toxic Truth, which has brought this sort of previously unknown scale of the issue of lead exposure to all of our attention. As we've heard, lead exposure is a major concern for children, affecting 1/3 of the world's children. The issue of lead was first brought home to me, actually, when I was running the Environmental Protection Agency. I had a young child who was regularly tested for lead exposure. I was fortunate enough to live in an area where testing was required. That is not true for mothers and fathers and parents around the world. This is a preventable problem. Lead exposure, lead poisoning is a preventable problem, and that is what this initiative is about, protecting our children. And so with that, let me turn to my first question. Richard, can you explain the work of Pure Earth?
Thank you, Carol. I can't tell you how excited we all are to be a part of this initiative. You may know Pure Earth has been working on toxins for 20 years in low and middle income countries, especially in identifying toxic hotspots and then often in cleaning them up. And we've looked now and assessed more than 5,000 sites where human health is substantially at risk. And as we look at those sites, more and more do we find that lead is singly the largest problem out there in terms of toxins and contaminated land. And very often it's informal battery recycling. You know, this illegal backyard, small mom and pop, sometimes larger but very substandard smelters that release lead into the environment. And all of the kids living around get poisoned. And the tragedy too is that the lead's an element. It's a metal that doesn't degrade any further. So once you've put lead out into the soil, it just stays there. And children for generations to come will continue to get poisoned until it's finally cleaned up. And we've been doing a lot of cleanup work. We've done dozens of projects where we've gone in and extracted lead and taken the lead out of exposure rats to kids, especially helping communities to learn how to be able to do that at scale further on. And we measure children's blood lead levels when we do this. And we know what works to bring blood lead levels down to levels that are safer. But all of our efforts to date have really only impacted about 500,000 lives, nowhere near the scale that's needed. It's really just a drop in the bucket. So this initiative is the starting point to really look at this problem at scale.
Thank you, Richard. And I just want to say a special thanks, not only to you, but to all the folks at Pure Earth and the leadership that you have provided over an extended period of time on the issue of lead. Let me now turn to Adam, and maybe Adam, you can also share with us what attracted the Clarios Foundation to the initiative.
Thank you, Carol. We are science and data driven, and the Pure Earth UNICEF reports simply could not be ignored. Armed with these findings and our Clarios Foundation mandate to improve children's health, promote sustainability, and unlock the circular economy, the only thing we could do is say, how can we help? What do you need us to do? No child should be exposed to lead from illegal, informal, and substandard battery recycling. It can be prevented. It must be prevented. The good news is we know how. And that was what was really exciting about this, because every day around the world, batteries are safely and responsibly recycled and turned into new ones. We know how to do this. this is what we do and this is what we bring to this critical partnership. That's why we are committed to working together to mobilize additional action. In our case, to mobilize even more private sector action. This is truly something where we can come together to protect every child's potential.
It is just such a breath of fresh air to have the Clarios Foundation at the table and committing to bring other partners into this. So thank you for everything you all are doing. LuWei, if I might turn to you now, and obviously UNICEF just has a broad portfolio of issues. And so perhaps you can help us understand why UNICEF decided to engage on this issue.
Sure, Carol. It's an exciting day for me and for UNICEF as well. I took out this jacket after 6 months that I have not traveled to the field, the first time in my life with such interruption of field activities after 6 months. And it was January, I wore the jacket and to Afghanistan. I saw how children there were not just affected by the humanitarian situations, but also environmental hazards, such as air pollution and exposure due to hazardous waste management practices. You all know since 90s, 40 years back, more than that, under 5 child mortality has come down significantly. And we also know that reducing environmental risks can further prevent 1 in 4 child deaths. That's why we're here in this partnership together. To us, for them to reach the full potential means lifelong health and well-being for all children, every one of them, no matter where he or she is, so that they can develop and contribute as productive members of their communities, countries, and the world.
What you bring to the table is so important. Your relationships around the world and the respect that you have for everything you do on behalf of children. Now what I'd like to do is talk about what's going to come next. What are sort of the first steps? And LuWei, why don't we start with you, and what are the first steps at UNICEF? Next
we need to have more actions. We're going to work locally with national health authorities, environment ministries, department agencies, and partners that concerning with the subject of lead exposure, together with other UN agencies and partners to take actions at country level. We're going to work to develop community awareness and strengthening the role of healthcare workers. Thank you, LuWei. Richard, what's next for Pure Earth as we launch this initiative?
Yes, we've got a lot of work to do. We have 5 countries that we're starting in. We'll be the group trying to do the implementation processes with all of the great support from UNICEF and Clarios Foundation and future partners. First, we're conducting source studies so we can work out where the sources of lead are coming from in different locations. And then we'll be designing and implementing interventions to stop these exposure pathways and clean up lead pollution. So the range of kind of strategies that are in front of us to do are systemic in nature. We need to look at things that are regulatory based, enforcement, look at economic incentives, look at alternative livelihoods, of course, and then perhaps formalization of industries, and perhaps even social investment issues as well.
Thank you, Richard. And Adam?
We hope to mobilize from here to build more support, more action, and expand the great work that our partners have been doing, and to contribute what we can with our global expertise and outreach to do more. So we're just getting started.
Thank you for the undertaking. You know, we meet at a time where obviously there are a lot of big issues, the issue of COVID, the issue of climate change. This is an issue we know what we need to do. Batteries are going to be a part of our lives for a very long time. And so making sure that they are properly recycled will protect communities. And Each of you bring to this partnership a really important history and an important skill. And now we get to go to work. Thank you all.
And a big thank you to all the people who we've met around the world today for sharing their experiences and for the exceptional work being done to prevent lead exposure.